right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We would have started 2 minutes ago, but Melissa, yap, as she does. Yeah, it's true. Hey, there are 1,000 people on the screen right now. I'm not sure if you all have seen this, but there are a lot. It's been a while since we've done a six-player game, and I think it was old Holler days, old Alien days. So it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Very excited. It's a perfect game for it because it's not complicated in terms of like mechanics, stuff like that. So we can just kind of move around, all that kind of stuff. And not only that, but you guys have an NPC with you. So it's really like you got 7 people with you. Oh, and then you have a drone with you. So basically you got like 8 people with you. Whew, okay. Anyhow.
And at some point we'll find Grimy again. And yeah.
No, Grimy's been eaten by something. I don't know. A small child. No. Who knows? They're very hungry. So we'll see. But yeah, hey, we got a full crew. This is going to be the crew moving forward. Everybody every week. So this is very exciting. I'm very excited to actually do an every week game because we've been doing that every other week for like many years. And like as a crew, we all haven't got to like kind of focus on game for a while. So this is going to be it's going to be great. All right. So are we ready? You want to just dive in? Let's just do this. Get it. Dive in because we're under the water in the AB. The AB.
Baby.
Chuck doesn't really want to be here. All right.
The AB.
So last time around, we were in one of the habs in Sunken, California. You patch yourselves up. This is after just knocking the door down, fight some of these weird serpentine guards. And you patch yourselves up. Then you went over and you were searching for the server node that Nostalgia Jack kind of gave you like this secondary objective. They wanted you to go in there and see if you can either give them remote access or gain some data. So you got over there, you found it flooded. It was overrun with some kind of coral network, and it also had a bunch of security drones that were kind of flying around here and there. Inside, you all discovered that there was somebody else already trying to hack, and I use the term extremely loosely, into that system, who eventually introduced themselves as Mallerie, working for a different fixer. And yeah, you kind of all sort of decided to join forces in a totally not awkward way. You had some quick thinking. Agaricus, you grew some sponges at one point to soak the flooded water. You started to protect against electrical shortage. Verana and Clover, you took care of a drone. Ivan fireballed 2 of these silt-bound guards who are coming by on patrol. Mallerie was able to access the server. You all downloaded some of the data onto physical chips. And then you pushed further into the hab. You were looking for a way into the Siltbound's primary headquarters, which was a different hab. And you know that somewhere they have access probably to like a thin place that is giving them all of this power, right? That's allowing them to be so strong. You, at one point, came across a woman by the name of Ariana Solace, who is calling down for help, which you all provided, but not without suspicion. She had some personal aug emitters that were malfunctioning. She looked really messed up without them. She also offered you a story about getting stranded with some other collective members who then went off and got themselves caught or some such. Agaricus made a baby Bjorn and carried her to a hiding place that you all found. But then you decided, nah, you should come with us, even though not everyone thinks it's a good idea. And so you're like, okay, trap lady, you can come with us. And so you all brought her with you. After that, you wandered around a little bit more and you found what looked like the entrance to the next connected hab, which you suspect to be the headquarters of the Siltbound. But it was guarded by some of these serpentine folks and this figure that was wearing some kind of cloak or something, a little bit different. And so we're going to pick up right there. I'm going to say that just to start it off, all of you have managed to at some point find a decent hiding place to observe from a distance this choke point. So you're able to right now, without doing anything in particular, you're not seen just yet, but you do know that there are some potential dangers afoot. You know that you've triggered the alarm for this hab. You know that there are multiple serpentine guards who bite and have these spiked tails. There's this other figure wearing a cloak that you don't know. You know that there are some security drones flying around, and you know that at least the last hab door was trapped and alarmed in some way. So I'm going to turn it over to you all. I'll say none of them look to immediately have detected you, but it probably is just a matter of time before one of those drones that are circulating around. So you probably don't have too much time to plan. So I'll turn it over to you all. What do we think we're doing at this point? Who wants to take lead?
Mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, all I remember truly is that we needed Rika back so she could hack through the door.
That is true. Rika is here. Your professional hacker is here.
Yeah.
Yes, I will go through the door with my trademark discretion.
Okay. I will say that door is guarded right now by multiple Silkbound authority members. So getting to the door would require going through them or getting them away from the door first. Yeah.
That might be step 3.
So really, it's just about like how do you want to either take care of, distract, whatever it is, these individuals. I'll say in terms of numbers, without any roll necessary, you see 3 of those kind of larger, almost serpentine-like humanoid figures, and then you see the one cloaked individual with literally a staff, like an old-fashioned like staff that they're carrying around with them, and that's what you see without any extra things. So
are we able to additionally see security drones?
No,
or
you don't see any currently, but you know they're by. You know that they're nearby. Okay. You were able to I think kind of hack into the drone that you caught to get an idea of their patterns. Yeah. So you would probably have a head start if they did come close, which is why you know they would come close. It's just they're not here right this second.
Right.
So Verana has an idea.
All right, Verana.
First, me personally as Melissa would like to welcome Lupine Vendetta for the raid. So thank you very much. Welcome, Raiders.
Thank you. Perfect timing. Just starting.
So Verana, though, would like to pull out her kind of occult tomes kind of a thing, and she wants to see if there's any corpses around here to animate, because she would like to try to make a distraction with a corpse that she animates.
Okay, I can tell you that you can make one.
Can make a corpse
turns around,
and then animate it.
Shoots Clover in the face. There we go. Okay, down to 5. Okay, so yeah, we can say there's some corpses around. Definitely, this place has the stench of death. Maybe I'm gonna say you all are kind of tucked away on the second level of some kind of grimy once apartment that is long since been overrun. More than likely, somebody had moved in here at one point to try to put some of those emitters in, but right now those aren't functioning. I'll say it's unlikely you probably would have parked inside of a room with a bunch of dead bodies, but I would say, Verana, you alone would be able to kind of sniff out the fact that there's death nearby, probably in this building, sunken beneath the flooded waters or somewhere else. So you're pretty confident there's death in the building. Okay.
So then she would like to do her roll. So she's got her ritual dagger that she, kind of as she does, sort of makes some cuts on her hand and kind of uses the blood in a part of this ritual. And I'm going to roll for that ritual.
Okay.
So I've got a +1 for my ritual dagger and a +1 for my corpse animation power tag.
Okay.
So that is a 7 + 2 is 9.
Okay. So what I'll basically say with 9, since there is a consequence, it's likely that maybe part of the ritual either creates a little bit more noise than is intended, or creates a situation where maybe whatever magical mythos that you're tapping into is at odds with the what's happening in this area. So while you don't see any of the creatures down at the door react to you, you definitely feel something in the back of your mind, as you reach out for death, that somebody is kind of pulling and trying to take those, it's not liking the fact that you're taking those bodies away. So I'm just going to add a little tag of like
Okay.
Makara's presence. That's all I'm going to say. There's just a little
that's lots of enough to say.
I mean, it's fine. Something like that. So, and you rolled a 9, right?
Yes.
Okay, and how much power did you tap into?
2.
Okay. Do you think your ability has any specifics to how much, like how many undead you summon, or do you just like spend like 1 power per like thrall or whatever?
That's a really good question. It just says corpse animation, so I was assuming the singular.
Okay. All right.
That was my thought with it.
Okay. So this isn't really a tracked outcome per se, but I guess we could make it a tracked outcome since you said specifically you're trying to distract them.
Yes, that is what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I'm trying to give us a little bit of cover and get them to follow that.
So yeah, let's go ahead and make this a tracked outcome then. So you rolled a 9. You kind of reach out, like to get your ritual dagger out. You tap into your blood, and you can kind of feel this other presence tugging on your ability to grab this soul, and you're able to push past it. And anyone who's peering out the window, like or the vent down towards this opening, you see like this kind of sudden splashing around in one of the toxic sludgy waters, and you see and you see this man sort of stand up in this rigid way, and then starts to like move in this zoetrope kind of herky-jerky fashion, dressed like something out of the 1950s, but you can see like half of his face is bloated, the one that's like sunken underneath the water, and right as he stands up, you see this like ghostly eel just peel out of his ear and flop down into the water and sort of swim away. And as that happens, do you direct your thrall to like just like make noise and maybe have it run away, or do you like send it in? What do you think?
It's definitely a distraction, so making noise and moving away.
Okay, so you've got 2 power, so we'll say that one of these is going to get like. Do you want to just give them distract?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to say as this thing goes, one of these serpentine guards starts like, kind of galloping after it, and I'm going to give one of these serpents distract too. Okay. But what this does do, though, not only does you get the feel that something is tugging at your mind, you notice that cloaked figure now has suddenly become more alert and has placed their staff down into the water and is like holding a hand up to their forehead. You see these glowing eyes, and as they start to glow, you realize it's not actually eyes, but just kind of plopping out of these dark sockets of the cloak. You see these ghostly long 3-foot long eels just start pouring out of that space where the cowl is, and they splash down into the water, and 2, 4, 6, 8, and now all these eels begin to kind of scatter about as if they're searching for something.
Oh, that's fucked up.
You've never seen that before?
Like that.
It's just like a Tuesday, man.
Well, Mallerie was at the terminal the whole time when she summoned the other dead ones, so he never caught wind of any of that, and so yeah, he's just kind of taken aback by that. What's the plan?
We see the guy kind of react with the staff, like he was kind of alerted to that. I want to look back at Ariana and see if she seems to be reacting as well. Like,
okay,
'cause I feel like I get the sense of Verana. Like, we've been in a party long enough that I can tell when she's like struggling with her magic. That kind of looked off. That seemed to clue in this guy. I don't trust Verana or Ariana.
You don't trust Ariana Vargas? That's ridiculous. You see her on the back of Agaricus, like with one hand still kind of just sort of petting the back of his head. But you can tell that her face is staring in the direction of Verana as Verana goes through this little magical ritual. Kind of hard to say exactly what her expression is, because whenever the emitter flickers, you can see it's definitely got that kind of toxic mutation that seems to have befallen her.
And when I notice like her looking and the zombie raises up, I'm like, do you know him? You guys look acquainted.
She turns in your direction, and she has kind of a sort of an annoyed look on her face as she sort of senses your kind of attitude. And she says,
"Maybe I do. We all knew one another quite well. It's a very close-knit community. I would have to see him more closely to be able to be sure."
So, while this conversation is happening, those little ghostly eels are now scattering about the water in this area, and you can tell that they're doing so in like a exploratory fashion. You still hear the sounds of as your zombie is leading one of these creatures are a little bit on on a wild goose chase, so to speak, or at least timing. So, who else would like to take and do an action here?
So what's the plan?
Well, I remember when we were outside, there were these giant crocodiles that were summoned magically, kind of like that man just made a bunch of eels show up. I feel like we should take his staff away from him and break it. Or at least take it away.
Hey, you want to do that while I get the door?
Yes. Is this where we go give him Ray?
I'm going to remind everybody, so someone just needs to take the lead here and say, this is what I'm doing, and then that's how we move the scene forward. Okay. So
I'll do it.
6 of you, one of you do it.
Yeah. So I'm going to head down towards that door, and like I'm going to have the complete energy of like I am supposed to be there. Okay. And I'm going to look at, is there one person left, or are there multiple people still near the door?
There are 3 figures left, one of which wears the cowl and you can't see the face, and the other 2 are serpentine, like lizard-like monster people.
Okay, so I'm going to focus a little bit more on the serpentine lizard people. And are they directly in front of like the console to open the door?
They are close enough that you wouldn't be able to just slip past them.
Yeah. So I'm going to start walking towards the console. And then I'm just going to like look at them and stare them in the eye as I'm going to give them the evil eye with the curse of clumsiness, so that if they try and do anything, then they won't hurt me. They may trip, they may drop their gun, something like that.
Okay. Sure. I don't necessarily think. Yeah, no, we can do that. I'm just saying in terms of outcome. That's not necessarily going to be the outcome should you fail. It could be something else. So,
sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
so the curse of clumsiness.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see. Let me just double check a thing really fast. Okay. And you're specifically said you're targeting you're trying to address like these serpentine ones, or are you trying to address like the one in the cow?
No, the one in the cowl, I don't think that would work on. Like, he's like, no, this is fucked up. That's a thing between him and Verana and Agaricus. So I'm going to just get to what I know. That's this door. And I know I'm a walking bad luck charm. So,
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm going for.
So put together a pool. What you want to roll here. Just let me know what tags you're tapping into, what you think work.
Yeah. I think Evil Eye, Curse of Clumsiness, and maybe some Disaster Alertness because I'm walking into danger.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take those.
Okay.
Okay. There is, however, I am tapping into one of their tags. You're going to get a -2 on this.
Okay.
As they do have a certain imbuement given to them by their creator. So that's going to be a -2 on this roll.
So +1 total?
+1 total, yeah.
Okay. Nah, we're going to go with the 6.
Okay. Okay, so this is what happens as you will all watch Mallerie slip out of the building, splash in the direction, and move towards the console that controls the door, staring at them. And like, they're like, what does it look like when you give a person the evil eye there, Mallerie? Like, does it manifest somehow physically?
No, he just like straight up like looks at them unfazingly. You know, kind of like that whole thing of like, I know this is going to end up worse for you than for me. He's used to it working, but you know, this time it's not, but he doesn't know that.
Okay. So
the uncomfortably direct stare.
Yeah. Like, you know, like fake it till you make it. You know, I'm supposed to be here. I'm going to work, you know, do my thing. Like, so, why would I walk up to this door if I wasn't supposed to? Yeah.
When you're like just 2 steps away from the console, there is this sudden and immense sweep of a tail. And those of you watching this see one of the tails, the spiked tails of these creatures, just move through the water, creating like a mini wave, and then leap up out of it and just smack Mallerie down. Mallerie, you can potentially mitigate this if you have any defensive tags, because this is essentially going to give you some bad traits here. But if you have any defensive things, you could try to defend against it or mitigate it.
Yeah. So you said they're sweeping out my legs?
They're basically trying to sweep through you, kind of knock you prone, and sort of drop the tail right on top of you.
I think we're gonna wait. I think I have something that might work, but I'd rather just see how this goes. Just
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're sure, the tail sweeps through. You're gonna take punctured 2 and prone 2. As this thing scoops you up, smashes you down, and the tail pins you into the water with the spikes like right in your chest.
All right, so I fill out these tracking cards. Put
so
punctured in one, prone in the other.
Exactly. Exactly. So basically what that means is like those are both essentially statuses that you can eventually get rid of. Prone is going to be easier to get rid of than punctured. Prone would require, since it's pinning you down effectively, and in some way it's going to be harder to get up, but it's going to be easier to probably remove that than puncture, which is more like you're taking a wound. Okay, so all of you see Mallerie just get dropped by one of these creatures, and then you watch as the figure with the cowl and with the staff gets closer, and as they do, you watch this like swirling vortex of water begin to just move around the head of the staff as if it's growing faster and faster and faster.
Okay.
What do you all do? Who takes the lead here?
Rika does at this point, after kind of annoyedly like saying that, you know, I really need to stop letting myself be convinced that you should try other things first. And she starts unloading on them with guns and more guns.
Okay.
At once.
You start firing away guns, more guns.
And I wonder if I might use tough as nails, or if it doesn't apply here.
What do you think tough as nails is doing for you in a situation when you're firing guns from a distance at them?
I kind of feel like deciding the direction of this engagement is only going to go this way now.
Yeah, but I don't think you really are. I think Mallerie and him getting pinned to the ground sort of decided where this is going. So I don't know. I don't think that applies.
Fair enough. Just those two then.
Okay.
And it's so useful for defense too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
that's
yeah,
one of the defensive.
Are you specifically targeting the one that just swept and knocked down Mallerie?
I am.
Okay. All right. So this one's going to. They do have, if you recall, these are the ones that have the thick scales, which I will say is so a -1 because of the thick scales. So it's harder to penetrate their exterior.
That is, I rolled an 11, but -1 is 10.
Okay, 10 is still great. So you activated 2 powers, is that correct? Okay, so you activated 2 powers, which means because you rolled a 10, it's a strong hit, you have 3 power to play with as you fire at them.
Nice.
So what do you want to do with that 3 power? Are you just looking to just apply like the shoot status and just load into one of them? Are you trying to do something else? Like, what do you think?
I think it's just a straight attack effect.
Okay.
Spend
So I'm
3
gonna
power to inflict /3 is
would be shoot for you since you're firing a gun. But yeah, it's the same basic concept though. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So you're giving him your 1 power per tier of harmful status, and so you're giving them 3 tiers of shoot as, and you see all this like this kind of greenish brown sludgy blood just erupt from them as now it's very noisy. Now there's like no confusion, like you were saying, that this is turned into a very serious fight. And with that, you do hear like the sounds of the one that was distracted down the way suddenly, but they're not immediately in the fight. Like they're basically going to be delayed coming back, but you would imagine with the sounds of gunfire that likely is going to draw their attention back. Okay. With a 10, no consequences for you. So who goes next? Who follows that? Agaricus, you were thinking of doing something. What do you think?
Oh, Clover, go ahead.
No, you can go. No, you can go.
I'll follow up on what I said I would do while Mallerie was doing his thing. I said I was going to try and go for the guy's staff. I want to yoink it of sorts.
Okay.
And like, I just want to go with the dumbest idea that comes to mind. So obviously, like using the, spreading out the vines, that's going to be one thing. But I try to think of like, some sort of like honored warrior spirit that would be good at yoinking something from a distance with like a ranged projectile, like some sort of thwip motion just kind of comes to mind.
Okay.
As the vine shoots out, tries to yank onto it. And then he does have, whether you want to flavor it as impressive physique or brute strength, I don't think both would apply. Probably brute strength is better. So it's more of like flip, get the vine on their angle just right, and then yoink it.
Okay. So do we see like do we like to see this sudden silhouette of like
there's like a weird overlay of like this weird like the mushrooms kind of start to change color a little bit to kind of like a blue and red.
Yeah. Okay. So how many did you have? Did you say?
Honored warrior spirit, vines, and I think brute strength is probably better than physique.
Okay.
I don't think it's fair to apply both, but it's more about like getting it on there and then having the strength to like, it may not yank it out of his hands, but it may like yank the staff in a certain direction or something.
Okay, so is that, you said 3? Is that 3 total?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really see anything that he has that I would apply negatively, but in terms of like, I'm going to treat this like basically like an attack, and then you're going to spend your effect to spend your power to get the effect that you want.
Sure.
All right.
Let's see what we get. Don't roll try to. How about a 12?
12 is phenomenal. So that means you have 4 power to play with.
Nice.
So, I mean, you could spend sort of like, just trying to look, like if you're, you could, if you want to grab the staff, you could just say disarm, like we could just call it a disarm kind of situation.
That was my first instinct, is if I can literally get it out of his hands and yanked back over to us, that would be very much what I would love to do.
Okay, so I think I'd probably just treat that as a straight up like
disarm,
like tag. Just a tag. I'd be like, you just completely disarm him, because it's less of like a tier of disarm. It's more just he is or he isn't. So that's going to be 2 power for that. And then you still have 2 power to play with. Like you could do damage to him. Like you could knock him prone. Like
maybe as it's being pulled away from him, he kind of like stumbles forward and like maybe stumbles to the ground, hurts his knee or something, or he bonks into something on the wall as it's being yanked out of his hands.
Okay, so he's disarmed completely. So that tag is applied to him. And then, do you want to damage him, or do you want to like weaken him? Do you want to disrupt him? Like, do you want him prone, or do you want him just to take damage?
I like making him prone. I feel like that's more fun. Like, this didn't feel like so much I was trying to damage him. It's more like I yank it away from him and I pull with so much strength. It not only pulls it out of his hands, but it also makes him fall forward.
So I'm gonna give him disarmed as a tag, and then prone 2. It's like you pull the knee out of its socket or something like that. You like kind of dislocate parts of his leg. Knees don't have socket, but parts of his leg, and then he like kind of crunches, and so he's struggling to get back up now as he's in the water. Okay, fantastic. And again, you rolled over 10, so I got no real consequences to deliver. I'll say you do hear the sounds of that other one, the distracted one, closing in, but not imminent. Clover, did you have something you wanted to do?
Yeah, the one that attacked, because there's kind of 2 on Mallerie, right?
There's one on Mallerie that just got lit up by Rika, but is nonetheless like it's just like standing over top of Mallerie, their tail pinning Mallerie to the ground, to the flooded ground. They're not completely out of the woods. I mean, like, they're not completely taken out by Rika, but Rika lit it up big time. So you can see all sorts of like bloody wounds from her bullets. Okay,
I want to try and finish that off. So I'll use weapon witching as one tag. I burned lucky shot, so don't really see any others that are kind of going to play into this. Actually, I can make it fun and say I'll do Risk Taker's Luck Charm too, and I'm going to not only like shoot at them to try and get them off of Mallerie, but I'm going to run out and like expose myself and put myself kind of in the fray.
Okay. And I'm going to say, because like Rika's gun like just tore through him, then I'm going to say his thick scales isn't going to apply in this situation and what you're doing. So you're not going to get the negative from that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
She's opened up a very clear weak spot. It's the spot where all the blood is pouring out. That's where you should target.
Aim for the red.
Bullets went through.
Aim for the red.
Aim for the bushes.
9.
9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 9 is pretty good. So 9 is a success, almost without consequence. How much power did you spend?
2.
Okay, so you can, if you deliver both of that, I think you would take him out. I would even say if you probably don't even need. Let me double check. Do you need 2 or? Yeah, you would only need to spend 1 of those to like do like some kind of like whatever wounding, like a slash or something like that you want, which would probably kill him. And then you can spend if you wanted, you can spend your other tag to say that as the body falls, like the tail rolls off of Mallerie.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I want to make sure he's not pinned under him, and I'll make sure that other tag goes into freeing up Mallerie.
Right. So Mallerie, you can reduce prone to 1. So you're just laying on the ground. That's all you're doing now. You're no longer pinned to the ground.
Sweet.
And this thing falls and what's it look like, Clover, as you kill it?
Thanks, Clover.
I imagine I'm just kind of running out and yelling and kind of fanning the hammer at it on my revolver, just to draw attention towards me. And
I'll say,
imagine most of those bullets don't land at all, but just one hits perfectly right in the exposed bit of them.
Okay. I'm gonna say that as you so I'm just like, when I'm thinking of this in my head, like Mallerie went down essentially first out in front. One of them turned to deal with Mallerie. The one with the staff started closing in, but then a Garricus came out of the building and intercepted. Then we also saw Rika come in and unloaded on the one that was on Mallerie. But there is this third one here that hasn't really been cornered. So I'm going to say what they're going to do is they're going to charge at you, Clover. And maybe, I don't think they're going to like full out damage you because you did roll a 9. But I will say, we're going to say you're cornered. They managed to just sort of they just kind of cut you off from the rest of the party, and so you're in this state where like they clearly have you cornered. So just take cornered 1, and it would be hard for you to get away from that. Okay. Sure. So resetting, we've got one of these cornering Clover. One of these is coming back, having been distracted by Verana. The creature with the staff has been de-staffed and made prone by Agaricus's vines. Ivan, I don't think we've heard you go yet.
No.
Would you like to do, man?
Waiting.
Well, it is now your time. Target.
Yeah, so I can't go after the one that's got Clover cornered, because we still want a Clover afterwards.
Do we?
So I'm going to go after the one that was thwipped to the ground, and just going to rain like just hellfire on it, just from my second story little hidey hole perch. I never went down.
You don't come down. You get onto like a little balcony or whatever, and you just like toss this fireball down. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So give me your pool. What do you think?
Yeah, and so does it seem to still have any? Does it seem like it still has any sort of control over like the little eels or that big one? Like,
there's definitely, as it's on the ground, because right now it's on the ground, as Agaricus has dragged it prone. It's prone too. So as the vines are kind of keeping it in the water, but you can tell when you look down from above, Ivan, that the water almost seems to move around it in an unnatural way. Yeah. As if like the water, like its relationship with water is not natural, and it doesn't seem to be bothering. It's not drowning him or anything like that. So it definitely seems like the staff might have maybe enhanced the powers, but not necessarily been the source of the powers.
Sure. Okay. So the two things in my pool that I'm sure on is Pyromancer and Gleefully Destructive. Like,
yeah, okay.
Just gonna nuke him. The thing that I am curious about is if he still has some control over this water, the other creatures, by taking him out, would that be kind of stirring up trouble for them?
It's a great question. It's definitely a great question, and it really would probably.
My question is, can I use my stir up trouble tag?
Okay. So you're invoking it. You're invoking your weakness.
No, that's not a weakness. That's a regular tag I got.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I totally misunderstood.
Wild.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's plenty of other dangers that your massive nuke on this guy could probably attract.
Yeah. Okay.
And also I'm going to say, because he's prone 2, he's pinned to the ground. Prone 2 is going to help you in this situation because you're just firing right down on a still target. So you can take 2 more from the fact that he's pinned by Agaricus.
Okay. So that is a plus 5.
Yeah. Ooh, that's pretty good.
I got an 8.
So bad. You rolled so bad.
Nice.
Man, at least you had a plus 5.
At least you rolled a 2 instead of double ones, because I think double ones is like a fail no matter what. So like, okay, 8 is still a success with consequence. So there will be some consequences that pop up your way.
Yeah.
So you had 5. So that's 5 power to play with, Ivan. What do you want to do with your 5 power?
I even have the little thing. I want to throw a couple power into like confuse, going to like disrupting, like kind of throwing off the coordination of the creatures
of the team?
In the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want, of the 2 surviving serpentine things, if you want to burn 2 of the power on like confuse 1 on those, I can do that. Yeah, we'll do confuse 1 as they see like their presumably leader, lieutenant, whatever, just get blasted. That's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe scream out in pain, or maybe steam erupts from their fire meets water or something like that, and like there's this moment of intimidation. And then you still got 3 more to play with.
And I'm just gonna dump that all into attack. I want to deal damage with the other 3.
Okay, let me double check to see if that's enough to take them out. Yeah, it is. What does it look like, by the way, when the fire rains down from above? Is it like a ball, or is it?
like those Saturn missiles where it's just like a bunch of tiny little, just hundreds of those just all flying out and shooting down onto it.
Okay, so as it lands, there's a miniature mushroom cloud of an explosion, and it's part fire, part steam. And then once that settles and we look down again, there's like a little bit of the flood in the area has kind of dissipated from just the fire burning it up, and you just see a charred to shit corpse on the ground where that dude was. Some of your vines are probably charred too, but like the dude's charred to bits. However, you did roll an 8, which means there are some quants. So I'm going to deliver a little bit. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say you were worried about stirring up trouble. And you don't see that some of these eels, they don't seem to only be aquatic. They seem more amphibious. And if we had the right camera angle, we'd see them kind of suddenly crawling up the first story underneath the balcony and then curl over and start wrapping around Ivan. Give yourself eel infested 2, we'll say.
Oh my gosh. You all hear the high-pitched shriek of pure terror.
You look back and you see there's like a half a dozen of these kind of like arm-length eels beginning to wrap around Ivan's leg here and there, and just they're not like hurting him yet, but they're wrapping around him. They're kind of getting into his clothes, around his limbs. That could be bad. Okay. At this point, I'm going to say the one that was distracted is now kind of within visible range. You can see them coming back in. They pause as they see the eruption of the fire and they see the corpse of their lieutenant. And there is that moment of confusion where they're like, what the hell's, yeah. And the other one is dead. So, back to you all. Verana, we haven't heard from you in a while. You kind of got the ball rolling with your corpse. Do you want to take the spotlight here?
Sure. So the one that is attacking Clover is still attacking Clover, right?
Yeah. Well, right now it's kind of just cornered him, as he kind of came out. Hasn't actually attacked him yet. But basically, what this means, if I deliver consequences, I'm going to give him a bonus essentially or I'm going to make whatever Clover tries to do. Cornered essentially could be a negative to whatever somebody tries to do to help Clover, basically.
Understood. Okay. Yeah. So Verana and Clover have kind of been tag teaming in here. So Verana had her ritual dagger out already, kind of doing the ritual for the corpse animation, which served its purpose for a little bit of a distraction. So she is going to turn her attention and her ancient fighting techniques wind up and go stabby stab on this one that is cornered Clover.
Okay. I am going to give the cornered -2 just because I feel like because it's in such close proximity and like slashing and moving around, you might accidentally like nick Clover. But I'll say only like -1 though, because you're coming from behind. Okay. So I won't put the full penalty on you. And it does still have the thick scales. So
okay.
In total, it'd be -2 against you.
Okay, so I had a +1 for the dagger and a +1 for ancient fighting techniques, and so then the -2 will make it a straight roll.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 6 and a 1, so a 7.
Okay, 7's still a pass with consequence. So you had 2 total power you used, right? So how do you want to apply that?
So I would like to. If it's possible, and I may not be able to because of kind of the corner of it, but I would like to be able to use 1 for kind of like a knockback.
Okay.
So that it's moved away from Clover.
Yeah.
So 1 for that, and then 1 for just a damage to it with the stab.
Okay. So I'm going to put, I'll put like knockback. So it's basically, actually what we could just say, instead of giving it knockback, we can say Clover remove 1 of the cornered tags. And then how much you said 1 for stabby stab?
Yeah, then the other one that's left for the injury of the stab.
Okay, so in one corner, we've got Clover and Verana like in close melee proximity with this one. Up by the door, we've got Mallerie still on the ground, having been kind of freed between like Rika and Agaric is going to help it out. And then we've got like Ivan up on the second level, and we have all of these eels that are wrapping up. And then you rolled a 7. I will say it's going to do like a wild swing with its tail.
Okay.
But I'll say it's not going to knock you prone. Instead, we'll just say it kind of gives you like punctured 1. So like it still gets you, but it doesn't fully like make contact with you. It's just kind of a quick swipe.
I have so many cards for things. I have toxic 2, acid burns 1, blood drained 1, battered 1, punctured 1.
Nice. Sounds about right.
I
like it.
Your pin
I
cushion.
keep clearing mine up.
Any mission you can walk away from, right? Okay.
True. True. I'm like, what if I run out of tracking cards for statuses?
Oh, your character's dead. It's in the rules page. Mallerie.
All right. So the one that she just attacked is starting to bleed a little bit because she got it with a knife, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So at this point, Mallory's on the ground and can sense that blood that's there. So Mallory's going to transform a specific body part of theirs. Where was I punctured?
Where
Do I
you
get to
punctured,
pick,
or
or
where
you
was
say?
the target punctured?
Where am I?
I mean, that's up to you. He went pretty center mass to bring you down, probably.
Center mass, we'll say my stomach. So all of a sudden, my stomach rips open into flesh ribbons as you hear this like splorching sound as like blood goes into the air and falls onto the ground with the splat, and then the flesh ribbons like reach out towards that lizard type guy. As I'm going to use elemental body, transform specific body parts, detect blood. It's going to wrap around him and bring me closer to him as I'm going to pump some of my infested blood into it with afflict with boils.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
I think that's 3.
Jumps back.
Jesus Christ! Did we just walk into the thing? Is that what's going on here?
Chuck just wrote in chat fireball. He's still there. Just fireball. You know
God,
that's crazy.
It's my version of a fireball, right?
Yeah. I think his scales would probably still protect him a little bit in this case. So maybe a -1 on this. So net a 2. Yeah, net a 2.
3.
Wow.
Because I've got.
I'm sorry, 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I know you've all had a really...
With all of that, I got a 9.
9 is still really, really good. You're going to succeed. You're going to get your 4 power. How do you want to apply them? So do your effects first, and then I'll deliver like the small consequence that might come from a 9. What do you think?
So I think at this point, I'm like my blood is ravaging their immune system, and it's not compatible anyway, because we're like we have different types of blood. So like he's going to start having all these boils go over and interrupt his scales, making him weaker.
As he's looking down, and so so the way this, so what I'm asking is like, do you want to? You have 4 points to basically purchase effects with. There are 2 different types of effects you can basically purchase. There's status, so that's like, and there's like tiers of that, like so stab 1, stab 2, stab 3, something like that, or you could do something like prone 1, prone 2, how I was using that to describe like increasingly difficult positions to get out of. But then there's also just tags, kind of like what Agaricus did, where he just straight up disarmed the guy and took his staff. And like, it's not a degree, it's just he doesn't have a staff. That's it. So those cost 2 power to apply. I can drop the effects list again in the Discord if you want to take a look at it.
Is it in the primer?
I think it's in my primer. I can't remember. I have
I'll
like
start looking at those
handout
in the meantime. But right now, what I'd like to do is like inflict like defenseless, because the boils are interrupting their scales.
Oh yeah.
And then I would like for the invading blood to damage them, because they're going to start pumping it through their system, and it will not be compatible.
So the good news, so I'll tell you this, that's going to actually be able to kill him because he's already suffered some damage from Verana's stab. So why don't you describe the kill? Let's describe how this actually takes him out, like how this blood transference like ruptures and kills him. What do you think?
Yeah. So you see like Mallory's head is like loose, but the sclera in his eyes are bloodshot red as the alligator starts crying blood. And then it starts coming out of its ears and any sort of mucous membrane that it has. The blood starts leaking out at first and then pouring. And it's like all of its blood starts to come out of the gator.
All right.
Or
and
lizard.
Because you roll a 9, it's a really good roll, so you don't really need to take a major consequence, but I will just give you like a small little flavor consequence that you can apply however you see fit. Give yourself blood feedback 1, because maybe some of what you gave, they're coming back, like you said that they were incompatible somehow, but maybe you take some of its blood back into you, like somehow that just, as it starts to, as the weird ribbons of stomach flesh come back into your body, it brings back with it some of this nasty, like tainted blood, and you have some feedback in there.
Tainted blood.
I feel like as that's happening, I still had my gun trained on it, and I'm like, should I put it out of its misery, or? But I'm just kind of
it just turns to you.
I'm so sorry. I was just gonna shoot you.
Kill me.
And then it falls.
Mallory is like still prone 1. After all of that, he's going to recover for a little while.
Okay. I mean, you could just say you got up, by the way. Like, prone 1 doesn't require any kind of special, like, you weren't trapped. You could just say you stood up. It's fine.
No, I'm choosing to be prone 1.
Okay.
After all that.
Yeah. You are in nasty, sludgy water.
Yeah.
Just don't forget that. Okay. All right. So in terms of what's left in like this scene, there is this other one that was distracted that's coming back and now possibly questioning whether they want to fully re-engage at this point. And then there are like those ghostly eels that are wrapping around the legs and clothes of Ivan up on the second story balcony. Who wants to deal with those?
I actually had an idea about the eels, and it might be a little weird, so feel free to say no.
Okay.
But
we don't do weird here. I don't know what you're saying.
So my loadout, which I took with the intention of maybe taunting things to attack me instead of the rest of the party, but it doesn't look like that is going to be required. Was the flashing clothing augment, and one of my power tags is worked on usual jobs, so I would love to yell to Ivan like, all right, just hold still, I worked as an eel wrangler, and I will turn off my flashing clothes to draw the eels to me and yell to Ivan to scorch them all the way.
You're trying to lure the eels off him. Okay.
Yes.
You know the light flashing sequence
with my flashing clothes.
I'm cool with all that. I'm cool with the flashing clothes. I think that makes sense. Yeah, give it a go. I'm cool with that. See if you can just flashy lights. Go for it.
Is it 2 because my loadout and tags, or just 1 with the tags?
1 because you've got the suit, and 1 because you got the worked unusual jobs. So that would be your 2.
Yeah, because you got your flashing clothing.
My clothing is a loadout, though. It's not a.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Though,
it works the same way. It's still just 1.
Yeah, it's just a tag from your loadotout instead of a tag from a different thing.
I do have to give you a -1 in this because they are very interested in Ivan right now.
Very interesting.
They have been tasked with something, so but I think it could still work. It could still work.
I rolled a 10 with a -1. That's a 9.
9 is still really good. What I'll say is that it works, Rika, but it works a little too well as they move with greater alacrity than you would have thought. As you're on the ground looking up at him in the balcony and you're flashing your lights, and they start to fall off of him. So I'm going to say the consequence then, Rika, is that they like start to drop down on you. And so I'm going to say you get eel-infested one as they start pinning themselves to the colorful clothes of your...
Oh my.
Can I
Ivan
do
is no longer
anything to
affected.
mitigate?
No, not in this one. No. Because they're not doing damage to you. They're just literally clinging to you.
I'd be an asshole if I didn't ask.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
All right. So, yeah, and that's the consequence. There's no extra ones. Who wants to go next? We still got these eels in play. We still got one of these other creatures that is contemplating throwing themselves back into the fight. You definitely see that they're kind of... They're assessing, and they're seeing two of their brethren are dead. They're seeing this cloaked figure is dead. Like, you definitely get the sense at this point that their morale is probably significantly stricken, and they might. It might not take much to get them to flee.
Okay. Am I with that? I was eel infested too. Does that take me down to eel infested 1?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll say. Half of them came off you
Yeah.
and onto Rika.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I am going to de-eel myself.
Okay.
With fire.
Okay. Absolutely. Please roll poorly so you could immolate yourself. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to use
Fireball.
my 3 fire tags. Pyromancer, gleefully destructive, and unharmed by tire. Or
Unharmed by
fire.
tires.
I am very harmed by tires.
Never gets run
Especially
over.
when they're burning.
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead, Adam.
that's better.
That makes
That's
it
better.
unharmed.
Yeah.
That's
Just regular tires.
Yeah, go right ahead. They have no special protection against fire. So yeah, you're all good.
That's an 11, so...
Yeah. What you want to happen happens, and I'll even, because you have multiple power there, so if you say you're flinging fire down into yourself, but then you fling more down onto Rika, you can probably remove both of yours.
Okay.
Just torch all of these eels if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say that
Torch many
that that threat at this point has been taken care of. But I will say that the other one, seeing this, is just going to turn and start running back into this hab, away from this door, like not coming towards you, but literally fleeing from you. So they're fleeing into the night at this point. Doesn't mean you can't follow them or do something with it, but they have not come in back into melee, and they've seen what has happened and they've run. Are you all okay with that?
I'm rolling out the mission success banner. I'm good to go.
Okay.
He chose wisely.
Okay. So if that's the case,
Making a good decision, I'm going to hand the staff to the lady. Free of my hands, of course. Make sure to put the magical staff in the old lady's hands that we totally trust.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
I'm glad you
She
thought
grabs
that.
it. Her eyes get very big with it. So she's got the staff in
Would you
one
mind
hand.
holding that for me?
Oh, of course, my son. Of course. Oh, this is quite impressive.
As she kind of shudders in the back of the baby Bjorn. Okay. So
I don't have a negative tag or anything. I just feel like that's the thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll just give Ariana has the staff.
With that, I kind of want to invoke. Can I invoke 2 weaknesses?
Oh my.
Well, what do you want to do? Like, what are you trying to accomplish right now?
So I don't like that. I don't like
Sure.
Staff.
What?
One of my weakness tags for all the risk taker and luck stuff is capricious, which is kind of like he's prone to mood outbursts and stuff.
Okay.
So I think that just kind of makes him snap and is just like, no, not okay, and runs at her. And I want to snatch it away from her. And my other weakness is wears down the weapon. So I want to weapon witch and wear down and try and like degrade this staff, possibly to the point of harm on myself, because it's like that's kind of how I would leverage it, because I'm not using it as a power. I'm using it as like I'm not thinking, and destroying it this way is probably not going to be good if I'm holding it.
So the idea with the wears down the weapon is that you're risking destroying the thing as you snatch it from her. Am I understanding that correctly?
I'm intentionally trying to destroy it by overcharging it with my weapon witching.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could hurt yourself is the risk.
There will be a potential consequence if you roll poorly. So I'm gonna give me a roll for this though, because there could be a much bigger consequence than just harming yourself. Actually.
Sure. So 2 weaknesses is -2, and then weapon witching is +1.
Yeah, that sounds right. So -1. She's an old woman. She's not gonna put up much of a fight, and she's in a baby Bjorn. So she can't really leverage anything.
I've got knowledge of the occult too.
I think knowledge of the occult would help you if you were trying to understand the staff. Since you're just trying to like destroy it.
That's fair.
Go ahead. You can take it. You can take it because maybe you might have a better idea of how to destroy like an imbued item like this. Sure. Yeah. So I give you a flat roll.
I think so. Yeah. 11.
Okay. So
5.
What does it look like then? Because you wanted to destroy it. So what does it look like as you snatch it from her and literally destroy it? What does that look like? Describe it for us.
So I picture his weapon witching, his hand just kind of holds out, and he's covered in all these tattoos and things. And you see the ones, especially on his hands and his wrists, kind of lighting up, and you see like runes and letters kind of floating in the air towards this thing and kind of charging it. So I picture him just like holding it up. He's got one hand kind of pointed at it, and it's like crumbling and breaking and tweaking. Like, is it like I pictured it kind of like a twisted, like wooden looking staff kind of thing.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the idea of having like these sort of like two winding scales, almost like serpents come up. It very much, I was making a Conan reference essentially as they like kind of pointed at each other. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm picturing it like crumbling and snapping in weird ways as I'm draining it. You see the wood like getting old and turning to dust.
And Ariana goes,
"No! Why would you do that? Why?
I don't trust you.
Why did they do that to me, my son?
Again, he's just scared of it. Oh no, of course. If you need a new stick, I can grow you one.
But this was a special
Look, it looks exactly the same, not as scaly.
No.
And she just kind of starts to weep into the vines or whatever in the back.
Oh no.
You're trying to
he doesn't know what to do, so he's just kind of like bobbing her up and down and like humming some like vague sing-songy tune.
Does not seem to console her, unfortunately.
Verana kind of goes over to Clover. Why would you do that?
Because it's magic and I don't like her and she scares me and I don't trust anything to do with her, and yeah.
I can appreciate that, but I could have possibly done good things with that. It just needed to not be in her hand, but it could have still existed.
Yeah. See, if I had been thinking, that would have been an idea I would have had.
Well, you saw a problem, and you solved the problem. So there's that, and that staff will never, ever exist ever again.
We might find another one. There's probably more of these guys.
There is only ever that one. No one will ever be the same.
I'll refrain from the next one.
It's too late. It's gone now. Are we going through this door?
Okay, so
yeah, door.
Looking at the door, and you all know that like you've made some noise. One of them has run away. You already know that some of these drones. So it's not like you have all the time in the world to do this, but there is. So Mallerie, you're standing, or at least if you go to stand, you are next to this monitor that you could potentially, like the controls, the door access, basically. You could try to hack into them if you wanted to do it that way, or we could go the Rika route and try to explode it again. However,
right now, Mallerie is laying on the ground still. You can tell he's breathing, like he's not really doing anything at the moment.
You good there, Mallerie?
Right.
Do we need to
Oh, you know what? It's funny. I got it.
And
do we need to scoop that back in?
I do want to draw the attention to the fact that this door would be going into literally the headquarters of, or like the stronghold of this faction.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, you can, and we'll play a different game next week. But
I can open it. I can do it.
Heavy consequence.
Mallerie is like, he like kind of comes to his senses, and he like widens his eyes and looks at you, Clover. Still, the sclera of his eyes are completely red and bloodshot, and he's like, "Hey,
hi. Your intestines came out and strangled somebody to death in front of me. It was kind of gross. Is that going to happen a lot?
Well, are we going to be in life or death situations a lot?
Probably.
Yes.
All right, it's going to happen a lot. Help me up here."
Sure. Yeah.
So you hear still, bzzz, since this is taking a while, like you can see these lights starting to close in now from these different directions, as you realize now that because of the dilly-dallying, the security drones have closed and gotten very close. Like, so you know that they are literally imminent in their arrival.
Right. So I'm gonna get still alive, right? You can just have them like go be loud over there.
I'm gonna get on the terminal, and I'm gonna start trying to open the door, because I'm assuming that's all that this terminal is for, right? Well,
not necessarily.
Okay. I'm going to see if there's any way to control the drones, and if so, then I'm going to, make sure that they go investigate what.
It's unlikely that door controls would also have like control of security drones. That's probably not the type of. There's probably a security head, like HQ, a security center somewhere in this hab that probably controls them. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing you could do potentially with this. So,
right.
So there is a alarm 2 on this. So you're gonna have a -2 for the fact that this does seem to be a door that has like a heavy alarm on it, and you already hear the sounds of these drones getting very, very close at this point. So yeah, go ahead, Mallerie. What are you putting together to roll for this?
All right. Well, there's I'm going to go for intrusion specialist, and if there are alarm systems on this, like if it's opened up without proper authentication, I'm going to be looking to crash that system. And if this is, I want to find out if this is the only door or not. So I'm trying to find back doors.
Okay. Sure. Like, I don't think find back doors. The tag is for finding a physical door. Okay.
So yeah, no, we'll take the intrusion specialist and the crash systems. So that'll be a dead even roll.
Dead even roll.
However, with all this fight and everything on this platform, I think him being so close to the water and getting back up and everything, that his phobia is going to start to kick in.
Okay. Well, you've been soaked in the water too. Like you've been literally laying in the water a bit.
Yeah, I wonder how much water got inside of your intestines when you kind of opened yourself up in the water.
So, he's sitting there like freaking out about the water, and you see his like fingers twitch in ways like he's having trouble controlling his body. So yeah, that's going to be a -1.
Okay. Give that a roll, and let's see how this goes.
That's a 6.
Okay. So, trying to see.
Is that pass with consequence?
No, 7 is pass with consequence. I'm trying to see if there's
pass with consequence is 7. Okay.
Something I would give you.
Stupid.
Okay.
Not like fragged where a 6 lets you reroll, right?
No.
No. It is not.
Okay, so 6 isn't a great roll, so I am going to deliver some
dear.
consequences. So I will say then that you, I'm not going to say it's an outright fail, Mallerie. I'm just going to say that like it's going to take you additional time, and so you're still going, and you haven't quite made it through kind of the layer of alarm system, and that's when these 2 drones close in on all your positions, and all of you can see them. They're flying up in the air around 10 to 15 feet above you, and you've seen them before, just like the one that you saw inside of the server room. They're encrusted in places with like coral and decay and like dripping with grime, but you can tell they're just almost, you're not even sure they're attacking you, as they're just looking at you, shining these big spotlights, and you just hear this like this aperture just as if they're like documenting you or taking in exactly who you are. So all of you go ahead and take the marked 2 yes.
And as a defensive measure, can I leverage my zeroed identity stuff? I got a couple tags that give me identity blurring and evade surveillance.
Yeah, I think, with that in mind, I think it makes sense that you probably could roll a mitigation considering your tags. So yeah, give that a roll with those, with zero identity and with blurring and with evade surveillance.
Okay. Cool. Kind of 5. It's double ones.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
there's no additional
ones.
consequence besides what's already happening, which is that you seem to have been documented. Both of you seem to be like all of you seem to at one point or another have been sort of documented by this. Okay.
You
so
replaced your face with a higher res picture of your face.
Yeah.
It's at this point that Mallerie, you're now able to get through the defenses of the door, but it's just a couple seconds too late, and you hear the and then you see like this big submarine style door just open up, and you see this long dark tunnel in front of you that connects to the next hab. It is half submerged in water, so you're basically wading through water if you go into there, and you can see what looks like these little porthole windows on the side of the tunnel that look out onto the darkness of the bay. But the door is open moments later. Do you all go through, or do you do something else?
Like
these drones are still looking at us, right?
They are, but they haven't aggressively done anything. They haven't like fired anything at you. You're not sure exactly what they're for, but other than just documenting exactly who you guys are, perhaps for whatever reason that might be important.
You make another papoose as I look at Agaricus.
Agaricus.
My son, they can't hear you. Speak up.
I suppose, if you don't mind being, I could make it forward facing. You could be on the front.
I don't care. I don't want to go in that.
Now it's like this completely goofy thing where like Mal is sitting in the papoose on the front and she's in the back, and I'm sure that's probably encumbering to some degree, but
yeah. Didn't we already? I think we already did have you with something, didn't we? Last time. Could have sworn we said that.
I had
a story tag or something, maybe. Yeah. Grandma backpack.
Yeah, grandma backpack.
Your story text. Could negatively influence you. I don't think that would have affected the vines and stuff that you did. It's just probably if you're like rushing or jumping or something more physical, it would probably apply. And Jeremy, that is not how you spell electrocuted. I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed.
Who's electrocuted?
I'm just saying, Jeremy's electrocuted 1. That is not how you spell electrocuted, Jeremy.
I'm not sure where that's
Jeremy's not electrocuted.
It's right. It is. It's right. It's on the story tag. Yeah. You're not. So I think you were putting a status from back in the server node room on your story tags when that should have been like on the right hand side. You can delete it now. It's fine.
Verana wants to go after one of these drones and try to disable it.
Okay. How would you go about trying to do that?
She doesn't really have a lot of tools at her disposal. So she's just going to try to use her, kind of cool looking fighting techniques to almost sort of parkour up a bit to try to stab at this drone. And I feel like she took out one of the other drones before, so she feels like she might know a little bit more about the weak spots of the drones and whatnot.
Sure. That's a good argument. Yeah, go for it. I don't think they have any. I think they have plating or something like that. So there might be a -1 from their metal plating, but you get 2 from your. I'll say 1 from your tag, and then 1 from your good argument to say you have knowledge of where the weak spots are.
Okay, and then I've got my knife, so it's +3.
Yeah, minus the 1 from their plating.
So I rolled a 7 +2 would be 9.
Okay,
so still a consequence.
Yeah, so I'll say it's a 9. They're 15 feet up in the air. You scramble up the side of a building, and then you just kind of leap out and just stab into one of them. And you're able to you're able to take it, and the weight of you brings it from where it's hovering down to the ground. But we'll say in doing so, just give yourself a limp. And so that means if there's ever any situation where you're running really fast or something like that, maybe we'll take a minus to that.
So I am literally out of tracking cards for things. Should I make it battered 2?
I don't want to give you battered 2. That seems pretty crazy. Why didn't you heal anything? Oh, goodness gracious. You're...
I healed toxic
down take a shower? Or you didn't take the shower, did you?
2. I went from 3 to a 2.
Oh, that's right. You washed all that off. Okay. Yeah. Just go ahead and put it next to another one. I don't know. Just track it somehow.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I'll say you jump on one, you crash it to the ground, you're able to smash it into the water, and you've effectively disabled one of them. Clover, what was your thought?
Yeah, and I wanted to contrast that again with we're going through all these moves and flips and things, and then I just do the Olympic shooter guy thing, just very lazily so shoot at it.
Yeah, go for it. And you can take the same benefit that Verana was given. You've fought this exact model before, so you can take a +1 from knowing the weak spot for this one.
Sweet.
And then
I think weapon witching again. I'm pretty much always witching the weapon that I'm fighting with.
Sure.
Okay. 11.
11's phenomenal. With that's enough to just, you fire and it hits and you just see it kind of explode into a couple different pieces and it goes raining down to the ground. And so yeah, you're able to dispatch with those drones pretty quickly. Not before they took your, marked you, and whether or not, and more than likely that data in the time got routed pretty quickly. So wherever that data gets routed, it got routed. All right, door open, security drones disabled. What do you guys want to do?
Make some trees and go through the doors.
Yeah, we've got to go quick.
Okay, so you go. The good news is that Mallerie, you were able. It took some extra time. You didn't necessarily trigger the alarm. Right. It just took extra time. So you're racing through, and you find yourselves eventually in a hab not unlike what you just came through, except the one that you are now in looks vastly different. It almost looks like you're in this dark underground lagoon, as every building that likely was in existence has now been encrusted with coral. So it looks like these massive coral homes in a way. You can see the kelp and seaweed dripping from places. The water, there are times in which you have to kind of swim and wade or get out and kind of climb over top of various other obstructions. There's really very little remaining of whatever this hab was at one point. but it looks as though this one has kind of gone has gone more fully over towards whatever this sort of it's naturalistic in the sense that it looks like a lagoon, but you can tell that there's like this toxic stink to it. Like everything smells awful. You can see like this weird the coral pulses and drips in certain places. There's nothing about this that seems fresh and clean, but it certainly seems more oceanic in some ways. So what is your plan here? What are you guys thinking as you come through?
Their job here is to extract the data or turn on the remote access, right?
We already did that part.
That's what you're already done.
Okay.
We got to find
you
Coco.
You have two basic.
That's right.
You have two basic things left, and that was Coco, and deal with the Siltbound. However, it needs to be dealt with.
I don't have any good seduction tabs, so
Rika's suggestion is the same as it has been. Want you just to light them up?
That's where I'm gonna go. Why don't we see if we can hunt down Coco first? Because I'm sure we're gonna keep heading in whatever direction has the most of these things. We'll find, but dealing with the immediate area, we got to get deeper without turning into them. So you said there's like a lot of like toxic sludge along the ground that we would have to like proceed through.
There's really no path that you can walk on that's dry any longer unless you just like climb up the coral and start like trucking it across like what used to be rooftops.
What I was thinking we should do.
Okay.
Or can I help in that endeavor for people who can't do that with using my protective armor tag to kind of move through the sludge down here?
I mean, I would say like you could probably have someone sit on your shoulders or something like that. You certainly could do that.
That's what I was saying. Me and one other person would that be feasible?
I'm fine with that. No roll or anything. So just someone just climbing your shoulders.
Agaricus, so we've got
the other thing
carrying Agaricus carrying.
Most of you are
only clown car.
Most of you are tapped in pretty heavily into the mythos. Like most of you have at least one or two purple tags, right? Kits, I should say. Those of you who regularly tap into some sort of mythos, especially those of you with exposure. I know one or two of you have exposure. I think, Chuck, you have it.
Yeah.
And so do you, Jeremy. You all probably almost instinctively or subtly just feel something's different about this place. Like you step through it and you just feel as though like your attachment to whatever it is that gives you power, like your warrior spirits, for instance, Agaricus, like that seems muted in some way, as if there is this overwhelming like network or resonance of some other kind of power that seems to be almost drowning, pardon the pun, drowning it out to a degree. You get the sense that there is an extremely strong mythos presence in the area. So one of the things you all could possibly do is try to use or leverage some of that to track or find things. Like if you want to do rituals to track the source of this power, right? So things like that you could also do. So you don't have to just like wander around aimlessly. Like you could tap into some of your mythos powers to possibly find where this might be coming from.
How about we do this? Agaricus, you get us a little ladder up onto these roofs. Get us a spot where we can surveil the area. And those of us with some juice, see if we can kind of triangulate which direction the big bad is.
Oh, I have an idea. We could do almost like a science experiment. You know, plants sometimes gravitate towards light and away from other things, I could extend plants and we could see which way things grow and which way things wither. That's all bad, but we could say which things is more stunted in their growth.
It's not a bad idea. Just send out a small ring of like small vines and see which ones start turning lizardly.
Because my plant stuff is based on exposure, and I do have science experiment as one of my tags as well. So kind of go about it kind of like almost like a science experiment. Like, okay, if we spread them out here, it probably would be slow going.
Sure.
But
almost like a canary in a coal mine kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
Except with your vines. Yeah. No, I really like this. I mean, you have it. I don't think you really need to even roll for it. I think it's just because you have the tag, like you can use your, like, because it's exposure, because it's your vines, because like there is this relationship between what's happening here and what you're trying to manifest. And because many of you can kind of echo the feelings that Agaricus is feeling. I would say, like you said, it's slow going, but I don't think you would need to roll. I think you can just do it if that's your desire.
Okay, so yeah, there's just kind of like this continuous, like maybe a vine that hardens up towards more of like a stick being held out front, and there's just continual growth of shrooms and other things coming out, and some of them seem to wither more on one side than the other. And
Okay, so if you want to scramble up to the rooftops, you're welcome to do so, and then from the upper portions, send out these vines as a way to kind of track the sea and like almost like a beacon, and like kind of hop from here to hop from there. You can see the ceiling of the hub when you climb up to the actual tops of these buildings, or what used to be buildings. You can see these like drippings of kale and such, and it almost feels at times like there's like streams of water falling down here and there. It couldn't possibly be the hab itself, because if it was, then implosion is a concern. But you nonetheless see drippings of water from above, not full on rain, but streams here and there. With your ability, Agaricus, you are eventually led to this relatively centralized courtyard, where a few different avenues, or what used to be avenues, or now like canals, connect. And you can see that there is looks like a former building of some kind that is of significant size, and there's like this ornate structure in front of it. It almost looks like when everything's encrusted in coral, but it almost looks like this arcing animal coming up out of one side and then arcing over the other, and like you can kind of see it in its mid-arc. If any of you have ever looked up to like what a dolphin is or a porpoise, the idea of them lifting up and over and down, you can kind of see it mid-leap as like a archway, and that archway seems to lead into this, probably the largest building you've seen in this hab so far. The roof seems to go all the way up to the top of the habs themselves. It is not without, with people around it. There are comings and goings. You don't see the large serpentine like creatures. Instead, you see a lot of the types of people that you saw when you were attacked at the boat, and you see one or two of those people in their cowls and things like that. But you definitely see that there's at least maybe 7 to 10 people that are either coming and going inside that archway and then leaving. But that's what you see. And again, just like before, we'll say that you're high enough and remote enough that you're able to glean this information without anyone seeing you. So with that in mind, Agaricus, you're pretty sure that whatever's through that archway is likely the source of this power surge that you're feeling.
just because I like tormenting this Ariana person. Does she seem like she's kind of like out of it, or like how does she seem to be reacting?
She's been weeping quite regularly into the back of Agaricus, and every now and then you hear,
"She will not be happy. She will not be happy."
No, it's okay. She's happy with you.
And it's becoming sloppy cries as well.
At that point, Mallerie on the other side of Agaricus leans over and is like, "Hey, we'll protect you."
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. I'm not fearful, though, for my safety. Not
okay.
Physically, anyhow.
Is she who? Nostalgia Jack?
No. She is just a mercenary the collective hired for their tasks. A data hoarder. That is all she is. No.
And then she kind of just, her eyes look down at the courtyard and at that archway. And there's like, the emitter drops and you see like the one side of the face sags and this kind of dripping top, like everything's been exposed. But the eyes themselves are staring clearly at that archway there.
So the other thing I wanted to do is leverage weaponsmithing, legend killing enchant, and read body language, and kind of use her as like a proxy for weapon witching, and like getting my gun ready for whatever fight we're gonna have, and like.
Yeah, I think that's a bridge too far with weapon witching, reading her body language to use weapon witching.
I was going to keep putting hexes in it, and whichever ones are bothering her the most as I'm doing it, and seem to be interrupting her.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that not working.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite in line with what that is. And I'm not even sure if she would even be able to give you any useful information in that case.
Okay.
She's definitely she certainly seems disturbed. And worried about something. But yeah, I don't think she's paying much attention to your preparations. Go ahead, Verana.
Okay.
I was going to say that Verana would be trying to do a bit of using her medical training and self-healing because she is pretty beat up. So she would, like, while like Agaricus is kind of doing his thing and, you know, kind of figuring out where we're headed next, I would like to do a little bit of self-healing.
Okay. Patch yourself up while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can give that a go.
Okay.
I think you're. Yeah, go ahead. Go and give the roll.
Roll a 5 and a 1, and then I've got self-healing and medical training.
So that's a 7. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and so what were you trying to take care of? Because you have a couple injuries.
I do. So punctured 1 seemed easy-ish to kind of wrap that up with, you know, like I don't really need much of anything, just to like rip off a piece of clothing and, you know, kind of seal off the puncture.
Okay, yeah. You tapped into what, 2 different tags? So I'll say you could take out punctured 1, and then you can either downgrade one of your others, like your battered, or you downgrade battered, or you could like remove your acid burns or something like that.
I would say let's kind of do the hurt leg that I just got and the punctured. I would appreciate those.
All right. What did Steven just do?
I don't know, but we got a raid. So welcome to Tabletop
of Horrors. Thank you for the raid. Steven, what the hell are you doing?
I was very concerned.
It's like, what the hell just happened? Okay.
A lot of things just happened.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Verana's been patching herself up. What are people trying to do? What information are you trying to glean? What actions are you looking to take? Like, what do you think?
So, a plan, maybe while Verana's patching up, we're going to have to get through the arch. Like, that's the goal. So I want to be looking in the other direction, trying to figure out when it's time for us to move forward. Where can I throw a giant fireball to create a distraction, to pull off people from the arch, so that way as we approach, hopefully there's less fighting.
From what I mean, you've passed by numerous coral encrusted buildings that probably would not take well to one of your blasts. There have been drippings of kelp and seaweed that are moist, but probably could still suffer from the fireball itself. So probably anything like that. Okay. Especially something that's a little bit higher up. From what you could tell, like the coral was acting very strangely, but even still, like something higher up and visible from a distance probably would be useful. And you probably passed a couple options along the way.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. That's what definitely I would be studying for. That way, when it's time for us to go, I yeet, we proceed, thin out the herd in front of us.
Okay. So you have an idea, like of a distraction to get them away. Yeah, gotcha.
A distraction's what I'm going for.
Understood. So, anybody else trying to glean some info or trying to piece together a plan?
I have an idea for how to get through, at least for myself. I'll wait for that.
Are you going to?
I thought you were going to share it. Sorry. Yeah, I thought you were going to share it. I have an idea. I'm just not going to tell any of you fucking.
No, I have an idea. I can get myself, Mal, and our friend here through. And then, unfortunately, we'll probably draw fire because we're going to go in first. Is that okay with you, Mal?
I just want to go home.
I'll do the thing again with the vine, and then I'll use our extra weight to swing through the arch quite quickly.
I just want to go home. Hey, as he turns to Verana, can you do that to other people?
Yes, I do have my medical training. I can use that for other people. But the self-healing kind of connects to her blood a little bit. But I do have medical training, so I could help you if you needed something.
Yeah, I can't do that to myself, oddly enough.
No, that's fine. Because you also have punctured, so it could be the same thing. I could rip off.
Yeah, I've got punctured too. So
yeah.
I mean,
which is fine because like we can get all the way up to 6 before like anything bad happens. But
okay.
If you need to take puncture down, I can help with that too.
Fireball.
Small fireball.
Yeah,
let's
cauterize.
Let's wait till it gets worse.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll remember that. I may need it.
So of the people that we see, do any of them look like they're not there, like of their own will? Like, is there anyone that's like kind of restrained? Is there anyone that seems like they've been dragged here? Or
you definitely notice that some of them are wearing this sort of cosplay of the 40s, 50s collective groups, but you can see that they are encrusted. Like they have parts of them have become scaled or encrusted with coral or something like that you have seen as a common identifying feature of the Siltborn. You don't see any like prisoners or anything currently. They're not like lingering in the courtyard for any extensive period. Like you definitely see there's traffic coming and going. Just like any other meeting place or whatever, like there's a couple people that might linger, communicate and then separate back to wherever it is they head in the hab. Or you can see one will go inside the archway and then not come out. So it's not just like there's the same 10 people here all the time. It's a little bit of, there's some activity. But they seem to be moving about without any alarm. And that's probably because you didn't trigger the alarm coming in, so they're not necessarily 100% aware that they're being looked at right now. Verana, how did you do on your roll for Mallerie? I would say that we probably want to be. You probably want to be a little careful about how many of these rolls we do, because they are time consuming, and so the longer you wait, other things can happen. But we can do this one. So how did you do, Verana?
Nothing good.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 1 and a 2. Plus 1 is a 4.
Okay. So 4 total. Okay.
Yeah. So in the process of like trying to like, she's taking some of her cloth to kind of wrap the puncture. But what I imagine is that this cloth, like she was looking at it on one side, but on the other side, there's some kind of like beading or something that she didn't realize. And so she's just like tightly wrapping all of these like really small, sharp edges into what had been like a puncture wound. And that's kind of what I feel like happened, that like this is not helping this in any way, shape, or form, and may actually be like making this puncture wound worse.
I don't want to deliver the consequence to Adam for your failures, so I would rather deliver it to you and say,
"Oh, okay." I cut myself on those little.
I'm gonna say increase, increase like. Let's increase like. I got an idea. Increase blood drain to 2. Because Mallerie does have this ability to drain blood. And so maybe it just somehow in the process, like unbeknownst to you, like one of these like ribbons from his stomach flesh, like just makes connection with a part of your flesh. And in doing so, as a way of trying to just heal himself, because you do have sought after blood. So let's just say blood drain too. And you feel yourself getting fairly lightheaded. And maybe you don't even notice it. Maybe neither of you even notice it, and maybe that lightheadedness is the reason why you screw up your medical application. How's that sound?
And like I'm just I think I need to sit down for a minute. I think I've been bent over a little bit too long.
I don't know if I can handle another papoose.
You're fine. No.
We're out of the water, right?
Yeah, you guys are up on a rooftop overlooking this courtyard.
I'm like, all right, I can give up my seat.
You swap.
Verana's not.
I'm feeling better.
You offer. You're polite. It's fine. This is my cross to bear.
Oh, he'll just absorb the papoose back into himself.
Yeah, Mallory's gonna stay on his feet. Yeah. Now that we're out of the water, he's actually like feeling a little bit more chipper.
Yeah. It's not like there's not water around, but you're not in the water at the very least.
Yeah. You're not laying in water.
So I mentioned this like coral and vines and all this stuff is growing over like almost every surface now that we're in here.
Yeah. It's like Dagobah. Think of that. It's sort of like that.
Okay.
Except for coral.
I want to rip off.
It's Star Trek.
Yeah, I've seen Star Wars.
Oh, it's Star Trek.
Let's just screw with it. Go ahead, Joe.
But as we're like kind of thinking about how we're gonna get through or whatever, I want to just like start taking some of the stuff off the walls and like putting it on me and disguising myself. I'm like, hey, we should kind of look like her, and then they might not stop us.
She turns to you and just flicks you off at this point.
You look nothing like me.
You
look hideous.
She says as half of her face just like flaps around in the wind. Okay. She's basically
Staple that back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I think it behooves me to move this along. So what do we think we want to do? Like you don't see the big serpentine defenders that you've seen elsewhere. But you also know that one of them did get away. You did get your images taken. So you have no idea how long that information might take to be disseminated back to whatever's here. You see people coming and going. You definitely get the sense that whatever's inside of that like encrusted dolphin arch and that massive building is the source, or at least something. And you know from some information is that these worshippers of Makara which is like a sea monster of like Hindu mythology, right? That they have access to like a thin place or something that might have given them this power, right? So like you could probably start putting two and two together that maybe the entrance to it is within. Ivan, you have an idea of maybe distractions?
Yeah.
Clover's got disguise. You know, what do you guys? So what are we thinking?
Hey, you had a plan? As I turned to Garricus.
Well, I mean, we could just swing through, but I like the disguise idea too, and I feel like my plan would very much undermine that, and I don't want to be rude.
If we can match their disguise, Ivan, we always have a fireball if we need it.
Yes,
Would you like me to drop some of these things on you and see if we can make us look like them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll start just trying to camouflage ourselves with just all the stuff growing.
You want to try to make
things.
yourselves look like these encrusted siltbound. Okay. All right.
I'll kind of grow out chunks of my bark armor to bigger extents and...
Okay.
We're gonna. This is more of a better question, but did we? And I this is my theory, not remembering, because it was a little while ago. But did we hear that the Siltbound particularly likes like chromey tech? Because if so, it might be cool that these guys get dressed up and, you know, take Rika as like a prisoner or like salvage that they've captured to kind of sell their disguise more.
From what you've observed, it's actually the opposite, is that they seem to see high levels of tech, or at least certain kinds of tech, especially like these augmentation emitters that are creating this delusion, and that is trying to redefine what the Bay is. They have done everything they can to revert that sort of tech. So, which doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily mean that your plan couldn't work. It's just like it would be more like they're seeing you as like a sacrifice or something, as opposed to like she's got cool shit, right? So I still think the Wookiee plan could work.
Which is fine. I guess I'm just thinking like I probably won't be able to be as well disguised as you guys.
But you have the Aug Flash clothing though, so you of any of us could augment a look very much like them, right?
I'm fine to do it then. If I have no sentimentality about disguising myself one way or another. So.
Okay.
I'm just like totally covered in all this crap at this point. Like, yeah, let's do it.
Anybody who wants to make a roll for themselves to try to disguise themselves, if this is your plan, let's go ahead and do that. We'll do this one at a time so we don't get the rolls all confused. Maitre, let's start with you since you're going to use your AUG emitters. So what I'm going to say is that what you're going to get from this, if you succeed, is some kind of disguise tag, right? And the better you do with it is just going to be the better the disguise, right? That kind of idea. I think that's how we could do this. So Rika, put your pool together for what you think you can use to disguise yourself.
So I'm thinking the flashing clothing AUG that Mel just recommended, and potentially imposing physique to mimic their physicality.
I think, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
However, I'm going to throw out an idea. You can say no. this might be a good time to invoke your weakness tag, obviously armed.
Hell yes! I've been like itching for my negative tags this session, and I've not been able to find a place for them.
You have not noticed
amazing.
any of them using highly technological gear. Like there were harpoon guns was probably the most technologically sophisticated gun, and you have like so if you want to invoke that, that's going to be a -1 to your roll. But you do get to check the invoke tag.
I very much want to. Please.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Also, because we're at the 11th, we're coming up to the end of this, I wonder if I can burn my loadout, burn the tag on my loadout, and just like go ham with using it.
Get like, okay, yeah. Well, why don't we say if you burn it, like you're overloading it, we'll like double the bonus and say take a +2 from it as opposed to a +1. Would that be okay?
Yeah, since I've got the -1 for my thing, that'll offset.
So I think then that'll put you at a net of a +2 to this roll.
+2, yeah. Because I got 1 from my loadout and 1 from my imposing physique, or 2 from my loadout, 1 from my imposing physique, -1 obviously.
Yeah.
So let me roll.
+2.
Sweet. So that is. You're not gonna believe.
I'm gonna guess boxcars.
Did you roll
2
boxcars?
No, I got a 6 and a 5.
Okay.
And plus 3.
6 + 5 +2, so it's a 13.
Plus
so
2,
basically you have 3 power on that. So I'm gonna give you disguise. So give yourself disguised 3.
Awesome.
Okay. Agaricus.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
So I can already kind of grow like bark patches to kind of look a little bit on the scabby thing. I can kind of like use the floral overgrowth to like hold on to other things here and there. But I kind of want to hinder myself a little bit because I feel like he's watching other people do stuff and he's trying to just naturally grow his own. But he's getting frustrated. He's very positive on the outside, but on the inside, he actually has an easily bruised ego, and he starts getting frustrated himself that he can't grow the stuff to match quite right. And he's putting on a positive face, but inside he's getting very frustrated they can't just grow something to match.
Okay. So you want to tap into your easily bruised ego for -1.
Yeah.
And then what's your net bonus then? What's your net
It'd
roll
be a
bonus?
1.
Give it a go, man. Yeah, go ahead.
8.
Okay. So you spent 2, so you can give yourself a disguise 2, sounds like. So if you get 2 power, you trigger, but you didn't roll 10. So disguise 2. Okay. But because you didn't roll 10, I'm gonna say take the consequence. Like, give yourself like a mental trait, like annoyed or something like that.
Disgruntled or something like that.
Whatever, however you would like to flavor it. Give yourself that, and then just at a 1, because like this whole process was like irritating. We'll say that's the consequence for not quite getting all the way up. I also want to say is if you don't want to do the Shaun of the Dead thing and just pretend to be these things and you wanted to do something else, you don't have to disguise yourself. So if you have a different plan, if you're going to try to like climb across the rooftops and find another way in, or if you're going to try to like stay behind and just like be the distracting person, whatever it might be, like you're not obligated to do this if you don't want to.
Incredibly cool thing where I was going to swing through them, but no, I'll look like one of them.
It's because they don't believe in you, my son. They don't love you the way I do.
I mean, I think they do.
No.
Just reach out and break things after I give them to somebody as a gift.
Especially that one. The fat hobbits is that one.
Pointing at Clover. Verana, do you want to be part of stealth team, whatever the hell we're calling this? No?
Stealth Team Alpha is going to have to go. I've got nothing that does anything with stealth, but parkour might be a thing that she might be able to do.
So reason you couldn't try to find a different way in by parkouring across the rooftops.
She agreed that it was a good idea for most people to try to go that direction, and she says nothing.
Mallerie, what is your task? What are you thinking here?
Well, Mallory's going to just go along with the group because he figures if something goes bad, it's best to be in numbers. So he's thinking back on his history. There was a time when he was an eco-terrorist that he had to blend in before he could throw some paint on something. It was when he was just getting started with his eco-terrorism before he went to dramatic things. So, he's got a little bit of history of trying to blend in, but he's not an expert. So I figure I'd just call on that one tag.
Okay, I think that's fine. Yeah, give it a go. So that's +1. Checking to see if there's anything else that might work for you. You don't have to burn it. You don't have to burn it with the way we do with Rika. It's not required to do that. We were just doing that because hers was a loadout tag, which means it's a piece of equipment. So
I see. Okay.
Sometimes I'll burn a power tag if it makes sense in certain situations, or a trade-off. I did it. I think we did it right, Joe, last week.
Right.
With one of yours.
Yeah. You burned my lucky shot to kill one of the lizards.
You just ran out of luck.
I accidentally clicked that. I didn't mean to click that.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. So you're rolling with a +1.
I got an 8.
Okay. So an 8. You only had 1 power, so you're getting disguised 1.
Okay.
Okay, so give yourself that.
I'm surprised I got that. Yay.
And do you think there's similar to Agaricus, is there an emotional feeling that's is it anxious, is it nerves? What do you think might be a good mental status consequence to apply to you here?
Oh yeah, he's got anxiety. He's with a bunch of people he doesn't know that are really violent. And
says
he's all about
ribbon guy.
Yeah, he's all about
I'm gonna change the overlay to say it.
Yeah, it's all about taking down, going after the man, but so he's probably anxious.
Give yourself anxious 1 then. Just give yourself anxious 1, little nerves. Ivan, are you staying with Verana to do, or are you going in stealthily, or what do you think?
No, they're making very careful plans. I'm just waiting for them to not pay attention.
Okay.
And then, I'm fireballing that way, and then Iron Manning towards the gate.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you have your own. So Ivan's got his own plans, and then Clover, what's your plan?
Yes. I've been just going through and picking pieces off of the scenery around me, and then kind of using Ariana as a palette to holding up some of it next to her, and be that kind of matches.
Get away.
So.
Can I loan him something to assist while he does that?
What do you want to loan him?
I have duct tape. I'll hold the stuff in place.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. I just wanted to find an excuse to use it.
Yeah, you could use it. I'll tell you what, similar to Rika, if you want to burn it, you can give him a +2 with it. Be just use the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't even know what I'm going to do with it anymore. I haven't used it at all the whole time.
Don't give it to him. He's a selfish one.
Thanks. And I'll put it on. I was thinking, and I kind of want to also mimic their movements and things too. So I wanted to tap into read body language and analytical brain augment. Brain augment, I think, is more searching for the right things and kind of piecing it together, right?
Okay.
Attention to detail kind of thing. And then body language, I'm looking, how are they moving? And shuffling, I kind of want to get a feel for. Yeah,
you're doing a character. I'm seeing the literal scene from Shaun of the Dead where they're doing their testing and their character study, and they want everyone to show the zombie thing. That's what I'm visualizing right now.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then +2. You don't have to burn the duct tape. I'm okay with
Joe,
the +1 on it.
That's not how you spell
I'm burning it because at this point, Agaricus is secretly very frustrated. So it doesn't even. I don't even know what I brought it for.
Okay.
You're better than these people.
They got me to a 10.
Did you? You got your 10.
Yep.
Okay, so because you got a 10, you're gonna get disguised 5.
Wow.
Because you had a +4, you rolled a 10, and a 10 means that it's a strong hit, which means you get a +1 power. I think I'm doing that right.
Sweet.
So that's we're gonna say so because you are not just physically changing what you look like, but you're studying how to act like them too, which is probably increasing the likelihood that your disguise works. Okay.
Real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Real quick. And I know we're getting close to the end. How did we get rid of the eels? How did we kill them?
Fire.
Burnt them.
Okay. Never mind.
You should have questioned them. They had a lot to say. I had a voice for them and everything.
I regret nothing.
I was considering my command undead servitors.
What you putting me for? Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, it's probably too late for that.
Yeah,
hey,
no.
There could be some dead stuff inside, though. You never know.
There could be.
There will be.
Okay.
There's a fireball incoming. So
let me know if I'm describing this correctly. I see Agaricus and Rika and Clover and Mallerie climb down from their perch and start. Do you all stay together as you come into this area, or do you separate? Do you stay as one big clump, or do you separate? What do you think?
Do the others walk in groups? Like,
I don't.
They just look like normal
to
socialized.
Separate.
yeah,
Okay.
they're not.
Because we're not like hiding our approach. Like we're just approaching. So I don't see a reason to separate.
I'm just saying,
Rika
some of you
isn't.
have better disguises than others.
Yeah, no, Rika isn't. I should.
no, you should probably have me stand apart. I don't think I did a very good job. I don't
did
want to
wonderful.
mess things up for you.
You look beautiful, my sweet.
That's the problem. I wasn't going for beautiful. I completely ruined it.
You're just naturally so. You take after
I
your
appreciate
mother.
it. You're a very kind lady.
Clover
I
would
like
be kind
you.
of off on
Of
his
course.
Oh boy.
Okay, so you guys stick together, climb on down, wade through the water into this courtyard area. And so the four of you are together in the courtyard. Then we see Verana, you are going to do some parkouring across the rooftops. Like, is that kind of what you're after here? Like a
Super stealth.
Catwoman kind of thing or something? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a roll for that right now?
I'd rather not. I might fail it.
Yeah, that's why I want you to roll it. Because if I know what you did, that's going to make setting up next week a lot easier.
Yeah. I don't really have much for this either, but I
that's great.
have ancient fighting techniques, which includes stealthing. So that's one better than I had if I were trying to throw some makeup on.
You can take that. And I'll also say we're doing this a little out of order because Ivan is going to use a distraction. So Ivan's distraction, I'll still give you a plus for that. So you can take a +1 for that.
Okay.
And you are staying on the rooftops, I would say. So as long as you're staying up here, you can take a +1 for that too. So environmental circumstances can give you another.
Okay.
So that's a +3.
3. Okay.
+3 total.
Okay. So I rolled a 7, which gives me a 10.
10. Okay. Perfect. So I'll write down your stealth. I'm writing all this down so I don't forget for next week. Perfect.
If anyone's
And then-
watching her, she is, as she always is, so melodramatic about all of her. Like, she's stealthing, but she's
Hell
also
yeah.
being very, extra about it.
You hear on your back, Erica, she's like,
She's just what a flaunt she is. Oh, goodness.
and
Look at her go. Look at her. That's so unbecoming, don't you think?
I mean, actually, I'm thinking of some sort of cat lady that just. I wish I could do that job. I should.
Don't be ridiculous.
No, I think I would have done a much better job if I'd done that. This stupid
You would have
disguise.
done a fabulous job.
I would
With your
have.
vines. You would have like moved from building to building, like firing like spider webs swinging from section to section. Would have been brilliant.
It would have been amazing.
I made a terrible choice. I'm so ashamed of myself.
Spectacular.
that was fantastic. And then finally, Ivan, as you see everyone scurry down, you see Verana start to scuttle off and leap from rooftop to rooftop. Throw your fireball. Give us a roll and see how big of a distraction you get from
Yeah.
this? How big of an explosion?
I'm pulling 5 tags.
Data boy. Okay.
Wow.
There is going to be one negative, though, and that is because of Makara's presence, because
Okay.
there is another... What
That's
happened?
8. That's an 8.
That's still not bad.
I know.
There's a
but
consequence, but yeah.
I'll take it. I want a bigger fire.
You still succeeded with an 8,
Okay.
so which means that you're going to get to use 5 power. So you can use 5 power to just make a distraction,
Yeah.
That's, dude, it's huge. It's a
All
huge
distraction.
explosion. Okay.
It could have been bigger.
So this is what happens then. So just to get the picture, then we'll close. We see the group wading into the courtyard. I'm kind of moving in whatever way that they're supposed to move. We see the silhouette of Verana parkouring across the rooftops to the upper echelons of this large building that has the dolphin encrusted archway. And then we hear this huge explosion as anyone who looks, even those of you who knew it was coming, like it's still this massive explosion. And down the street, there is just this huge orange and red eruption. And you can see a lot of the kelp now hanging down from the highest points of the hab are kind of caught aflame. The smell of smoke, the screams of people in the courtyard who turn, and some of them start racing. Some of them like duck for cover. And then one of them says, "Up there! There, intruder!" And they're pointing directly at Ivan. And that's where we're going to go ahead and end it for tonight. And we will pick up on that next week.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So
You guys are all like, we fit in. And then it's like, oh, who isn't running and screaming? And everyone else is running and screaming.
Let's go get him.
You guys are going to have to kill Ivan basically next week
Oh,
just to
no.
prove your loyalty.
Oh,
yourself in
I can't break my disguise 5.
I made a character choice and I need to stick with it.
You totally should.
Oh
You
my
totally should.
God.
Tell you what, extra XP if you guys kill Ivan next week with your bare hands.
Oh. How much XP do I get if I take out the party?
Everything that they have right now combined is yours.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a free for all.
Okay.
All right. All right. That's it for us tonight. Let's go ahead and do some closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. Okay. Adam, you're up first. Adam.
Yes.
Tell us about Cannon Otter, man. What's going on?
Just check us out on Drive-Thru RPG. We've got our first game out, Teenage Odyssey, and we just funded Skin City, just barely by the skin of our teeth. And you can look forward to that happening. Check us out on YouTube, Cannon Otter Studio. We've got instructional videos for Skin City done by one of our developers. So, yeah, good stuff all around.
Awesome. Fantastic. My Trey, where can we find you on the internet and what do you do?
I am Multiplays Games, and I am just off of a coughing fit, so I'll be really quick. I'm on YouTube.
Okay.
Multiplays Games on YouTube.
Yes. Talks about all sorts of TTRPG things where she centers the GM and player experience with system agnostic games. I put that
system
in the wrong
agnostic and
order.
multi-system games.
There we go.
You're so good at that.
We've heard it. We play with you all the time. We don't. Okay. Chuck, what's going on with DOK, man?
DOK, Wednesday, we're doing our Night Below campaign using Dungeon Crawl Classics. Friday, we should be doing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Joe's got something, but I'll let him talk about it. But to emphasize what Adam said, and just to put it in a very precise thing, go buy my goddamn game on Drive-Thru RPG. It's Teenage Odyssey. It's the best game you ever played. Nothing system agnostic about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we just run it at a local con. Everyone said exactly that each and every time. Yeah.
They did.
Weird.
Mhm.
That's amazing. That's honestly
Yes.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lie.
fantastic. We have played it here. It was a lot of fun. So not a lie. Okay. Joe, I hear you've got something to tell us. So floor is yours.
Saturdays on DOK, we're going to start running Salvage Union, which is a
nice
survival mecha hex crawl kind of deal. And yeah, it'll be good.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that because I know we've talked about it a bit. It's such a cool looking game. I'm curious to see what you do with it. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Is that this week? You starting up this week?
Yes, this weekend.
Okay. Cool. All right, then. For us, what do we have going on? Tomorrow night, we've got Star Trek, where our buddy Steven hops into the GM seat and deals with our shenanigans. Thursday, we got some Arzium. You can see Jeremy, myself, and Melissa in that game. Probably a finale, I think. That's the plan for that. Friday this week, we got more Delta Green, and we are very close. That could be the finale of our Delta Green campaign. Might be the penultimate episode. Not sure yet. And then Saturday, come watch a TPK. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
It's going to be great. As I'm going to kill every single character in the most brutal and horrific way possible, because that's Bangkok 1937. So that's what we do. That's how we roll in Bangkok. It's been a lot of fun. Everyone's in so much trouble. It's ridiculous. Things have gone so bad in Bangkok. It's pretty spectacular. It's been so fast.
So fast.
The
Record
blink of an
fast.
eye, just like that,
we just got off the plane.
You
Just
got off
like
the plane
that.
and got punched in the face, is what it seems like.
That's what you get. That's what you get for not. You should have got that translator. You should have got that translator. You would have known. They said duck because we're about to punch you in the face. Okay, and the other thing I want to mention, Huckleberry, our dear friend Steven, has an awesome game. If you like Weird West horror action styles of games, cinematic style, you should check out Huckleberry. It's over on ttrpg. It's currently in like this early access sort of state. A couple weeks ago, Steven did an update and he added a bunch of rules tweaks and updates, but also a really awesome scenario, the first scenario, the Divine Comedy, which we ran on this channel about a month or so ago. It's a lot of fun, a lot more content coming very, very soon. So go over to drive through, look that up while you're getting Teenage Odyssey. Get that too. Hop over into the Discord and you can ask Steven all sorts of wonderful questions about the game. And with that, I think we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and raid somebody. Let's do Dork Tales. They're up. So let's do this. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.